remember I bought some turkey mince, and I was thinking, oh, last time we made a bolognese, thinking actually it'd be really good to show you how to make some really yummy meatballs. So meatballs are just so dead easy to make, absolutely scrummy, children would love them, adults love them, really good thing. So let me just going to showcase how to make those today. So again, thinking about food waste, I went through the cupboard because I'm going to make a tomato sauce to go with my meatballs, and I went through the cupboard thinking what I had that I could use up. And really, my cupboard's got a bit bare. We're a family of 4, and I seem to always be buying food and vegetables, and it's just like it's constant. And I suppose at the moment, being COVID, I'm not that keen to go to the supermarket that often. So what I found an end bit of leek, look, tiny pathetic bit of leek. I found the end of the cut up peppers that I used yesterday. Remember what we cooked yesterday, so I'm going to use those. And I've got a courgette. So that's perfect, okay? So I'm going to fry those up, add a tin of tomatoes, and that's going to be my tomato sauce. Easy peasy, quick, cheap, easy meal to make. So, turkey mince. As we said before, turkey mince is quite bland, but it's really low in fat, so it's a really good mince to use. If you did use red meat, then that's fine. It's a really good way to get iron into your diet. And just remember to try and buy the leanest that you can, because that's what you want. The more white specks, the more fat. So try and buy the reddest one you can, and often that maybe means the more expensive, but it's probably worth it because you're getting really good quality meat. So add a tiny bit of salt as well, just a little bit. Again, teaspoons all you should be eating a day. So if we then literally mix all that up. Okay, so the other top tip to making meatballs is to make them really light, and you really want them to hold together. So the top tip is to, again, think about food waste. We've taken some breadcrumbs, okay? So whatever bread that you had in the cupboard, if you've got bread that you need to use up, ideally that's great. If you haven't, it doesn't matter, that's absolutely fine. These, I did the crust as well, which is a bit silly because I really want them a bit smaller, but I think they'll work. I think they'll be fine. So the idea about getting really light meatballs is you want to soak your breadcrumbs, and then once you soak in your breadcrumbs, you're going to then add them to your turkey mince, and that's what's going to give these really yummy light things. So I'm just adding a bit of milk. I've got oat milk. So I'm just going to add a little bit. You don't want an awful lot because you don't want to get so much liquid. You just literally want to, you're literally going to soak the meatballs. So you can see the bread's taking up the milk. If you wanted to be really decadent, you could soak your meatballs in wine, and I must admit that works really well. Or cider, and if you haven't got, just use water. That's fine. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just a question of softening down the meatballs. Okay, so we're just going to leave that to soften for the moment. Okay, and I'm just going to put that to one side. So if I then take my vegetables, so I've already washed my leek, so I'm just going to cut that up. Again, we're just going to cut that up really small. And again, the smaller you cut things, the smaller it's going to cook. So this is the green bit of the leek actually. Lots of people often throw away the green bit, but really there's no need to. You may as well just keep it. It's another really yum bit, and like always I've managed to keep my bits together because I'm terrible like that. But don't worry, you can just, it's always because I'm in a bit of a rush, so if you just break them up, they will just break up nicely like that. Okay, so if we then put our cooker on and turn on, and then just use a tiny bit of oil like we do, okay, and then we're going to add our leeks. Then we're going to add our peppers. We're just letting the oil warm up a little bit. Then we're just going to cut up our peppers. So if you want to make a tomato sauce and you don't want to be bothered using the vegetables, then that's absolutely fine. You could literally just use a tin of tomatoes, and that would work perfectly too. I just love putting veggies in everything. I just think it makes it healthier. You're adding more antioxidants, more vitamins, more fibre. I just think, why wouldn't you, if you're making a sauce, why wouldn't you add vegetables to it? But if you really can't be bothered, just literally use a tin tomatoes, maybe you want to fry an onion and a bit of garlic, and that itself would be absolutely perfect. So let's just cut up these. Okay. Right. Okay. It's always the boring bit, isn't it? Cutting up the cutting up the vegetables. So just doing that. Try and do that quickly. Maybe I should do this in advance. Maybe that'd be easier. You're really fast forwarding this bit, but that's absolutely fine. Okay, right. And then my little bit of yellow that's gone a bit. I've just cut that bit off and gone a bit manky. I'll just cut this bit up because it's a shame not to use it. Okay, right. Then I'm going to add my vegetables. Okay, to my pan. So this is, and the colour I think is really important as well. So if you can look, that's a really lovely colour already. So I think for my courgette, I'm gonna grate my courgette, I think, because I think it will cook so much quicker, and the courgette will just disappear into the sauce, and I think that actually would be ideal. So if I just literally, I'm just going to top and tail that, and then and cut that into three, and literally I'm just going to grate that, and you can add that as well, and that will cook so much quicker. Okay. Do that really quickly. Just watch your fingers because graters can be really sharp, so just be careful that you don't hurt your fingers. And I've done that a few times actually, and that's yes, can be quite painful. There we go. So right, we've got a little bit left. It's fine. I actually give them to my dog. Actually, he loves courgette. It's absolutely bizarre, but it's you could always throw those bits away or think about adding them to something. Okay, so I'm going to add my courgette now to my pan. Okay, and if I just tidy up my space, I'll show you what's going on. Okay. Right, it's sun today. It's nice that people have got sun today. It's much warmer today, which is nice. Yesterday I was in a jumper. It was freezing, but there's warmer. I think it's going to be warmer, which is nice, isn't it? It's been a little bit chilly. Right, okie doke. So, always good to have a clean workspace. So if I show you what's going on with my cooker then, if I just pull it over a little bit. So this is all literally frying off, okay? And we're just going to leave that just to all fry off a little bit. And it's all going to really condense down. You'd be amazed actually the vegetables will disappear a little bit. So we'll just leave that. We can just turn it up a little bit. Okay, so we go back to our turkey, and if I just move this out of the way. Okay, so see, look at our breadcrumbs, okay? So this is like, they've literally the milk has all been taken up and the breadcrumbs have gone really soft. And even some of my big bits, which I thought wasn't going to work really well, have all really gone really nicely, okay? So what we're going to do now is going to add our breadcrumbs to our turkey. And I must admit, I haven't measured anything out. I'm terrible like that. I do get told off when it doesn't quite work, I haven't done it properly, but that's the joys. Okay, and then you're just literally going to mix all that together, okay? Right, easy peasy. Right. Again, if you're cooking with children, let the children get involved. They absolutely love that. You know, get your fingers involved as long as you wash them afterwards and beforehand. Absolutely fine. So remind you, in here we have got a bit of black pepper, tiny bit of salt, and we've got some mixed herbs, okay? So again, if you wanted to add anything to that, that would be absolutely fine. But actually I need something more, and some fennel seeds I forgot as well, okay? Remember, turkey is a bit bland, so the more seasoning you can add to it, the better, and it's not going to put people off. I think often people are put off eating turkey because they think it's a bit bland, whereas if you're making that a bit more exciting, then, you know, they're not going to know the difference. Yeah, so just stir this, it's all sizzling away. Okay. There we go. Right, so literally I'm going to get some of this in my hand, and I'm literally going to make balls. I'm literally going to get some, I'm going to roll it up in my hand, look like that, and I've made a turkey ball. Okay? So literally I'm going to do that with all my turkey balls. You can make them whatever size you want, you can make them small, you can make them big, it really doesn't matter. Once you've made them, you can freeze them, so you can actually, I want to make meatballs one day, but I'm going to be prepared, so why not make them and then freeze them? And you could easily do that. Or you could, and then you could have the tomato sauce separately if you wanted to, or just have these. And these could be eaten on their own. They could be eaten like as a picnic food or a bit of finger food. Anyway, really, you could eat them differently. You don't always have to have them in your tomato sauce. It opens up such a range of different ways to eat them. Okay. So there you go. Just rolling. This is making loads actually. So I think I might freeze. If I give it all to my family, I'll eat it all in one go, which is no good at all. So let's. So this one's a bit bigger, which is hey ho. Right. Okay. So again, if you wanted to, you could you can just fry them like this, and that's what I'm going to do. If you wanted to, I will actually tell you about some other breadcrumbs that you could, if you wanted to make them crunchy, that might be really nice. Maybe we'll try some of that actually. I think that might be a different way to eat them as well. So all come to almost finished. So I've just got maybe 2 left. My vegetables are going really nicely as well, so right. Great. And 1 more left. Okay. Okay, there you go. Right. I just wash my hands a minute. Okie doke. Right, we'll just have a look, see our vegetables, see they're all disappearing, the leek is disappearing, all the courgettes that we grated have all stopped disappearing. It's amazing when you cook the vegetables, you think you've got so many, and then suddenly they all start to disappear. Okay, so we just got on there, we're just going to turn that down a bit. Right, I just want to get something out of the fridge. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of garlic. So I'm cheating, I'm using lazy garlic. It's absolutely perfect. If you want to use normal garlic, absolutely fine. Normal garlic is absolutely fantastic, brilliant, love using it. But I'm just thinking about being a bit lazy. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit of my garlic out, just maybe something like half a teaspoon or something like that, and I'm just going to add it to my sauce. Remember, garlic burns really easily, so you just want to add it towards the end when you're doing your vegetables, so it doesn't burn. Okay, right. Right, to that now, I think I can add my tomatoes. So if I'm going to open up my tin of tomatoes, you can use any tomatoes, but if you try and use ones that are slightly more expensive, they have a much thicker sauce, and they are just so much nicer than sometimes the thin ones. Sometimes if you've got the money and you can afford it, buy the more expensive ones, and if you haven't, then maybe try and put some tomato puree in, just to maybe thicken it up a little bit. And a tin of tomato puree, I think costs about 45p, and it can last for quite a long time, can't it? So that's maybe another way. So I'm going to add my tomatoes. If you like chopped tomatoes, it makes your life so much easier because you don't have to chop them, and they're not any different in price. And these are always on special offer. If you look out and you wait, then usually you can buy them when they're on at a good deal. Okay, so take a breath. When you're making tomato sauce, sometimes tomatoes can be a little bit acidic, and so sometimes it's nice if you add a little bit of tomato puree, depending on what tomatoes you use. But it can be that if you maybe add, if you haven't got tomato puree and it's something else I'm out of, I really need to go shopping. Someone told me if you add a bit of tomato ketchup. Now, tomato ketchup is really full of sugar, so it's not something you want to be having all the time. It's really, it's one of those things that you want to be having in moderation. However, adding a little bit to a tomato sauce or to a chili or something like that really helps bring out some of the flavours. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit of my tomato puree, sorry, my tomato ketchup. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, that's probably about a teaspoon or so. And then I'm just going to give that a stir. And if you weren't going to add tomato ketchup, you might have wanted to add a tiny bit of sugar, especially if you're cooking for children, because I think tomatoes can be a little bit sour sometimes, and you don't want anything to put them off. So sometimes making something a little bit sweeter is exactly what you might need. So this is our sauce at the moment. So if you liked it lumpy, you could leave it like that, and I think that would be absolutely fine. However, when you're thinking, we're going to put these in the oven, so I think we actually want to make it a little bit more sauce-like. So what I'm going to add a stock cube. So as normal, I've only got vegetables because I've run out of everything, but that's fine, okay? Vegetable stock cube's fine, or if you want to use your bouillon, or if you want a chicken stock cube, that would work fine. So if I just put that in, and then again, you're thinking about flavour. Everything's got to have flavour, okay? It's really, really important. If you're cooking for the elderly, if you're cooking for children, you're cooking for family, whoever, you're cooking for yourself, as long as it tastes nice, you're going to want to eat it, okay? So try and think, whatever you're going to make, how you're actually seasoning, which is so, so important. So although I've seasoned my meatballs, I need to season my sauce too, because both go hand in hand. So again, it smells so nice. I'm going to add some of my mixed herbs to my sauce. And I'm also going to add a little bit of black pepper. Okay, and then to that, I'm going to add a little bit of Worcester sauce. Just a tiny bit, but enough, just a tiny bit to give it that little bit of an edge, okay? So if you haven't got any, you don't need to, that's fine, it's totally up to you. Just grind a weeny bit. Some people like adding mustard, some people like adding soy sauce, but do be careful with the salt. Or a bit of basmati vinegar might work really well, or maybe you're fine just with tomatoes, play around with it, taste it, it's right. And then to get to the last bit of my tomatoes, I'm just going to fill my can with water and pour that into my sauce, okay? Right, just be careful that you're not going to, although it's going to boil down, and you can add it as it goes, okay? So I'm just going to add a little bit, and as it starts to reduce, I'll add more and just finish it off. And then depending on who you're cooking for, you might like to leave it like it is, or you might want to puree it down and make the sauce so it's absolutely smooth, okay? Okay, so that's that at the moment. So let me just turn that off, and then we'll just do the meatballs. Another frying pan. Okay, so I'll just move this to one side for the moment. If anyone is watching live, I don't think anyone is, but if anyone is, please ask questions. And if you are watching afterwards, please comment, please ask me questions. I will, of course, always answer. Okay, so we were just going to talk quickly about breadcrumbs. And so this is my other type of breadcrumbs, okay? So bread is one of the most thrown away foods. So if you can use it, then you'll just save yourself loads of money. So my breadcrumbs before, I just literally put my bread in the oven, and don't put the oven on specially. Try and put it on when the oven's on for something else, because it's not worth it otherwise. And then literally you dried them out. So all these are breadcrumbs that have dried out, and then I just put them in the food processor, and they went to nothing. And these are really, really fine breadcrumbs. So what I was thinking we could do, let me just, I'll put this on again. So we're just going to fry some of these meatballs. But at the same time, if you wanted to, what I was thinking was, to make them slightly different, you could put some breadcrumbs on your plate, okay? And then maybe take some, let's try a small one, and you could cover that in your breadcrumbs, and that's going to make it slightly crunchy. Okay, so again, to your breadcrumbs, I think you could add some flavouring. So I was thinking, what might be nice adding to flavouring? Maybe a little bit of let me have a think. Paprika, that's what I was looking for. Maybe a tiny bit of paprika. I've no idea if this is going to work, but let's give that a go, okay? Okay, so again, if you're cooking for children, you just want to add a little bit, okay? Because you're just literally giving that spice. So if we do that, let's see, okay? So it's experimenting while I'm live, madness. Okay, so let's do that, and let's add another one. I think these are going to be really nice, actually. I think, and I'm going to add a slightly crunchy outing, which I think children would absolutely enjoy. And then the key is they think it's a finger food. You could have them in, cut them up, put them in pita bread. That'd be really nice. Maybe have a stir fry on the side, or eat them on the tomato sauce. So that'd be really nice too. So if you haven't got any bread to use, you can always use crackers. If you've got crackers, that works really well. And if you haven't got anything, it doesn't matter. They will still work just as they are, but having something like the bread to go in them works really well. And something told me yesterday, actually, they put some dairy lee in the middle of them, and I thought that sounded really nice as well. So again, loads of different ideas that you can use to cook with. Okay, let's just use up the last of my breadcrumbs, some of the bigger ones. Okay. Right, so there we go. So I will carry on my own now to finish off, but just literally that's to show you how to make really, really simple turkey meatballs, okay? So these ones I'm just going to fry on their own, and I'm going to cover them in tomato sauce. These ones, as you can see, are just frying really, really nicely. I'll just get a fork actually. And they're going to go really brown on the outside, and they're going to be absolutely delicious, okay? So these ones you're going to have to cook all the way through. So on a slightly lower heat you want to cook them, whereas the other ones, these don't need to be cooked all the way through because they're going to be cooking. I'm going to put them in the oven, so I'm literally going to cover them in the sauce. I want to brown them on all sides, put them in the tomato sauce and put them in the oven for about 20 minutes at 180, and that'd be perfect, okay? And turkey does cook really, really quickly. And just like chicken, to double check when it's cooked, it's always white inside, okay, if you're ever unsure. But these ones, I think, because I want to have them as a different entity, I'm just going to cook them really slowly and differently on my heat and make sure they're cooked all the way through. Okay, right, I'm going to leave you and carry on my cooking because I think I'm going on too long and you might get bored. So thank you so much for joining me, and please join me again next week. Okay, thank you.